The sun dipped low over a quiet Arizona town as the rumble of motorcycles filled the air. The Iron Brotherhood had stopped at a small roadside diner after a long charity ride. Laughter and music filled the room until the door creaked open and a young boy stepped inside. He looked lost, dust on his cheeks, eyes wide with fear, clutching a torn teddy bear. Jake Reaper Lawson, the leader, turned toward him. "You okay, kid?" he asked gently. The boy hesitated, his voice barely a whisper. "They took my sister." Every sound in the diner stopped. The bikers exchanged tense glances. As the boy explained, the two men in a black van had grabbed his sister near the highway gas station. He'd tried to chase them, but they drove away too fast. Reaper's jaw tightened. Something in the boy's trembling voice hit him deep. Without another word, he stood up, tossed cash on the counter, and barked, "Mount up!" Engines roared to life outside, the night vibrating with purpose. The boy stood in the doorway, watching the men ride off into the dark. He didn't know who they were, but he knew they weren't the kind to sit back and do nothing. The chase had begun. Darkness settled over the desert as the bikers split into two groups, headlights cutting through the endless stretch of highway. Reaper rode in front, his mind replaying the boy's trembling words. Every mile felt heavier, the silence broken only by the roar of engines. Through the radio, Tank's deep voice came through. "Got tire tracks near the old quarry," he said. Reaper signaled the others, and they turned sharply off-road, gravel crunching beneath their tires. The moonlight revealed faint footprints, small, like a child's. Reaper knelt, brushing the dirt with his hand. "She was here," he muttered. Then a faint sound drifted through the wind, a cry soft and desperate. The men froze, listening. Reaper motioned forward, and they followed the sound to an abandoned trailer at the edge of the quarry. Inside, the beam of Tank's flashlight caught a piece of pink ribbon on the floor, tied to a broken chair leg. Reaper's eyes darkened. The rage that lived deep in him began to rise. "They didn't get far," he said, voice low and steady. The engines started again, louder this time, echoing through the desert night. The Iron Brotherhood wasn't backing down, not until the little girl was safe. The tire tracks led them to a run-down truck stop near the state line. Two men stood outside a black van, smoking and laughing, unaware that the hunt had reached them. Reaper parked his bike a short distance away and motioned for silence. The bikers moved like shadows, spreading out with quiet precision. When one of the kidnappers turned to flick his cigarette, Reaper was already behind him. A swift punch sent the man crashing to the ground. The second man tried to run, but Tank tackled him hard, pinning him against the dirt. "Where's the girl?" he growled. The man spat and muttered something about business. Reaper's patience snapped. He stormed to the van and yanked the door open. Inside, under dim light, sat the little girl, tied up, eyes wide with fear. Reaper carefully untied her, whispering, "You're safe now, sweetheart." Outside, the biker crew secured the kidnappers until law enforcement arrived. One of them tried to threaten Reaper, saying, "You don't know who we work for." Reaper's voice was calm but cold. "Don't care." The girl clung to him as he carried her toward the bikes. The Brotherhood had found her, and for the first time that night, hope replaced fear. The first light of dawn broke over the desert as the roar of motorcycles echoed down the empty road. The little girl clung tightly to Reaper's vest, her face buried against his back, safe for the first time in hours. When they reached the diner, the boy was waiting outside, eyes red from crying. The moment he saw her, he ran forward, shouting her name. She jumped into his arms, and they held each other, sobbing as the bikers watched in silence. Reaper looked away, swallowing hard. He wasn't a man who showed emotion, but something about those kids reminded him of everything he'd lost. Tank stepped beside him, patting his shoulder. "You did good, brother," he said quietly. Moments later, the sheriff arrived to take the kidnappers into custody. The boy turned back to Reaper, tears streaking his cheeks. "Thank you," he said softly. Reaper knelt and smiled faintly. "Take care of your sister. That's what real men do." The Iron Brotherhood mounted their bikes again, engines rumbling like thunder. As they disappeared down the highway, the boy waved, calling out, "You're heroes!" Reaper didn't turn back, but a small smile tugged at his lips as the sun rose behind them.